everyone. Thank you again for joining us on the Yellow Seat interview series. My guest today is no other than the one and only Tony Johal.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you, Tony. Tony is the
having
owner and broker of Remax Inspired Living Realty.
Yes.
Out of Bristol and at one point in Cambridge as well too, right?
Yeah, the long story short is when we were an independent, we had our Cambridge office.
Okay.
And so when we picked up the Remax franchise, we were given a certain area to actually set up the office in. And it just so happened to be Breslau, which, I like Breslau, and I'll tell you why. It's the only city that touches basically Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo.
It is, isn't it?
It's pretty good.
Positioned right there in the center.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, let's get right into it. Let's start.
Yeah.
So it's been like what? About 13 years now to be precise.
Yeah.
You got into this industry, the real estate industry, back in 2006, which by the way, buddy, you and I, same class, brother, same class, right?
Yeah, man.
So when you reflect back over those years,
Yeah.
and you look at the way the business used to be done back then compared to the way it is done now, what would you say?
I would say, quite honestly, things have changed, but things haven't changed. At the end of the day, buyers want houses, sellers want buyers. So the underlying dynamic remains the same. It's really the method and the mediums and the technologies that we use that have really changed. I think one of the big things that I've noticed over the past decade, or just over a decade, is access to technology and access to information. So 2006, we couldn't have imagined some of these IDX websites and consumers having access to so much information. But, that's the kind of things that we as professionals, we have to adjust to and adapt and use to build our business. But the fact of the matter is, buyers, they use all of these websites and they use this information, and sellers now with access to, home prices and so on being so, I guess, liberated, it doesn't really change anything. Buyers have always wanted homes and sellers have always wanted buyers.
So essentially it's the technology that's changed or the actual tool, but the people are still very much the same.
I think so, and I think it's mostly for us agents that have been in the industry for as long as what we have. It's mostly us that have to adapt to it, because things have changed. The way that we used to do open houses and get sign calls and realtor.cas, and we used to be able to help the person on the other end of the phone, whether they bought that home or not. Mm-hmm. But now all of a sudden, consumers, if the property is not available, no problem. I'll just jump onto another website and I'll get it. So
I think right in the comfort of their own home or their car or whatever they may be remotely, right?
For sure.
Yes.
And I think the other thing is too is just speed. I think back when we first got into it, if someone called us in the evening, returning a call the next day would be acceptable practice.
I remember that.
Yeah. Now it's just like, hey, if you don't get back to me in 5 minutes, I'm moving on. Yeah. So those are things that have changed.
So many people get into this business, as you and I know, and essentially years after, they still don't have a total comprehension of what the actual business entails.
For sure.
Okay. Now, I have to be honest with you though, you're one of those very few people that I know of. You can call it empire building.
Yeah.
People that nothing less than excellence of execution is their game plan.
For sure.
Okay, now you must have had a vision at one point. How you wanted to create this business and what have you. So can I ask you, when did that vision begin? And also, what was the catalyst for that for you?
It's a good question. What is it that Albert Einstein said, that compound interest is the ninth wonder of the world?
Yes.
Well,
Sir.
I think it's very similar to how careers
You're not only
are built.
good looking, Tony, you're very brilliant.
I read a lot. But I think if you apply his logic to someone's career, then that's really how it happens. At the beginning, you put in all of this work and you really don't see results. But then all of a sudden, it ignites. Mm-hmm. And then the objective needs to become, how can I make the flame larger? How can I make it bigger and better? And so there's a lot of people that have been in the industry for 10 years, but really what they've done is they've just recycled year one's experience over and over and over and over. doesn't mean you've got 10 years experience, it means you've been licensed for 10 years.
That's right. Someone was mentioned to me, to interrupt you.
Yeah.
If you think what you did yesterday was extraordinary, obviously you haven't done anything different.
That's
anything
right.
great today.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I think, and on that point right there, it's, you have to try to make sure that whoever you were last year, you can't be that person this year.
Wow.
Because if you're not growing, you're going backwards.
You're right.
You can't maintain. Think about our databases, for example, in real estate. We can't just maintain our database. We can't just stop adding people because people divorce, they move away, they get their real estate license.
Life happens.
Life happens. And then all of a sudden, this database of 500, 1,000 people just starts dwindling as people's life events happen. So you got to continue to grow that, just like yourself. If you want to be more, you got to become more.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Tony. So everyone has their transformation moment.
Yeah.
The point when,
Yeah.
that click moment, that game-changing moment,
Right.
or period. For Tony, not this Tony, your Tony. Okay. When was that period, the moment in your business?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's, what is it Anthony Robbins always says? He says, your life doesn't just change in a moment. It may take you 10 years to get to that moment, but then, it took you 10 years to get there. So for me, the biggest thing is personal development. And I truly believe that I want more. I want to become more. I want to serve more. I want to become more to the people in my life, not just my team, my staff, but also my family and just anybody that's associated with me. So I want people to engage with me and walk away feeling good or feeling better, feeling that they learned something. And that's why I'm just, I'm so thankful that you asked me to do this podcast here.
Thank you.
So, if I can enhance someone's life, then that's definitely something that I want to do. So the big catalyst for me really became when I started exploring personal development a lot more.
Okay.
I started reading a lot more. I started learning a lot more.
I know you follow Anthony Robbins quite a lot.
Tony Robbins, Darren
Yeah.
Hardy, I mean, these guys are just pioneers at what they do. They always say the person that doesn't read is at the same disability as the person that can't read.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, there's so much knowledge out there for us. We just have to be able to grab it, latch onto it, and apply it. One book might take us a week to read, but that's essentially someone's 10 years worth of experience that you've consolidated.
All condensed into one little book. and
Absolutely.
You can't expect to have all of that, gained in one quick read.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a blueprint to something.
Yes.
And that's how you've got to really approach education and knowledge. And for me, the big catalyst for me came when I realized that I just wasn't reaching the same capacities. I used to look at mediocrity and I used to think that was excellence. And, once I started realizing that there's a big world out there over and above beyond what I perceive as being big and great, then at that point, it was almost like something unleashed. And so that was huge for me.
It's like coming from the village into a small town, coming from a small town into a bigger town,
Yeah.
going from a small town, a bigger town into a big city,
That's
and then
right.
moving into metropolis, and then you look at the state, you look at the country, and then you look at the planet.
Yeah.
It keeps getting bigger.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
how much you want to reach out to that matters as an individual, right?
100%. You said you hit the nail on the head right there. It's just, we've all got incredible potential within us. It's how we exercise that. Do we dig deep enough to actually unleash that? Or are we satisfied with mediocrity? And that's not me.
Wonderful, I appreciate that. Thanks again, Tony. So if you're starting today,
Yeah.
you just picked up your real estate license,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're all happy and excited, about to get started in the business.
Yeah.
What would you do differently?
What would I do differently? I don't know if I would do anything differently. And I'll tell you the one thing that I did right from the beginning that truly helped me. And that was I latched onto a mentor. And I think, going back to the book philosophy, taking 10 years of experience and consolidating it into a book, it's the same thing with a mentor. You really can see further when you stand on the shoulders of giants. And so for me, I had a mentor. I really hitched my wagon to that person and I picked their brain and I learned, and I was just a great student.
And I'm assuming you still have mentors in your life.
I do. It's true. I mean, the mentors change as you grow and as you change.
Yes.
But I mean,
because you evolve.
Absolutely. And I think and I think that's progression.
Yes.
I think if you have the same mentor forever, then you're really not growing. I do believe that, where you are in your life, would call for a different person for you to really lean on and learn from.
And invariably, the truth is, at one point, if you're truly growing, you will outgrow your mentor.
Absolutely.
At one point, and then you go find the next mentor. Like Bruce Lee said, life is full of plateaus.
Yes.
Okay? That's one after the other.
Right. And he was a wise man.
He was a wise man.
I'm gonna listen to him.
You're gonna be like water, brother. Like water.
That's exactly it. But you know what? That's one thing that I really did really well at the beginning. I found a mentor, and I truly, I just kept digging for gold nuggets from that person, and really helped boost my own personal career. And then coaching. I think one of the things that I would have done a lot sooner if I were to go back is I would have aligned myself with a coach, whether a real estate coach or a business coach, just someone to help me think bigger and be able to, for me to be able to look at my business and say, am I really getting the most out of my business? So that's what I would have done right from the beginning.
Well, Tony, it's been such a great pleasure listening to all this trove of wisdom from you. Anything else you'd like to share with our audience or myself, or?
I would definitely recommend, as an agent, if you don't know your numbers, definitely know your numbers. Mm-hmm. Now, for a lot of people, when they hear that, they don't know what that means. Well, I mean, there has to be metrics to what you do on a daily basis. I work very well from to-do lists, and for me, one of the big to-do lists is every month, know my numbers. Do my profit and loss statement every single month. You will be fascinated when you start to do that. You really start to see, oh my God, I'm spending money here and I'm not making anything here, or why am I not spending more money here?
Or why am I in the business?
Why am I in the business? Right? That there could be a catalytic
revelation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Know your numbers and know where your business is coming from, and double down on what's working, and what's not working, look to eliminate if you can correct it.
Fantastic, Tony. It's been such a great pleasure, my friend.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Hope to see you back again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Yellow Seat Interview series. We're hoping to see you again another time. Be good, be powerful.